Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Your Pleasure Incorporated into Daily Living. I am your host, Ellen Nicholas Rathbone, sensuality consultant and life coach. So, my question for you today is, when was the last time you had the most explosive, dynamic, mind blowing, fulfilling, satisfying orgasm? Was it yesterday? Last week? Last month? Last year? Well, let me tell you, orgasm is one of the healthiest things that we can have. Whether you have that by yourself or whether you have that with a partner, having orgasm regularly is good for your body, mind, and spirit. In fact, every time you have one, if your eyes are closed, you'll see this explosive light going off inside of your body. It'll be bright, it'll be like an explosion, and and you'll know that your body is rewarding you for giving it the opportunity to relieve your sexual stress. Now, you might not know that you have sexual stress, but if you don't have regular sexual relations, and again, whether that's by yourself or with a partner, you are not taking off the excess tension that you might have, and it will build up and it causes stress. So, actually, having orgasms is very, very good for relieving stress. Now, not all orgasms are equal. Uh, some orgasms are considerably more intense and actually much better for you than the quickie. So, if you're going to have a quality orgasm, then for the men, they need to know that if your partner is indeed a woman, it takes longer for her to heat up so that she can build enough sexual tension and she'll be able to have an orgasm or two or three or more, because women are like irons. Once they get hot, they stay hot for a long time. So she can actually have multiple orgasms if you know what you're doing and if you can help take her on that delightful ride. Now, men can also have quality orgasms. And the thing that's kind of funny about them is they can have multiple orgasms too if the prostate is involved and if they don't ejaculate. Now, a lot of people confuse ejaculation with the orgasm, but they're not the same thing. And ejaculate happens a nanosecond after the actual physical expression of orgasm so that the ejaculate comes out. But if you learn how to control that, you can actually recycle your sexual energy so that it goes through the prostate again and again and again, and as many times as you can handle, and have as many orgasms as she can have. And instead of being tired, exhausted, depleted, drained, you feel like you're ready to take on the world. You feel full of energy and full of life because you are reconnected to your essential source and you are being rewarded for taking good care of yourself and for releasing that sexual tension. There is a lot of tension in the world, and our sexual needs need to be taken care of, because if they are not, it builds up. And then I think that's one of the reasons that there's so much violence in the world, is that people are sexually frustrated. They don't have a partner. They feel very, very lonely, and they haven't had a release in God knows when. Now, the thing about the male orgasm is it can take place pretty quickly, and that's not a good thing. A lot of guys like to knock one off and get their day started, and I guess that's okay. But if you're teaching your body that it's okay to come quickly, then that's the habit that your body will always have. And every time you go to have sexual relations, that will be what your body does. It will always go back to what it has always does, which is come quickly. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants a partner who cannot control themselves. So you want to learn how to take your time, masturbate slowly, feel where your cutoff is, where the loss of control it can take place. I call it the little yellow flag. And feel into it so that you keep yourself within that first third of arousal. And by doing so, when you finally allow yourself to have that orgasm, it's so much better, so much more satisfying. I liken it to boiling water. You can allow for a rim of bubbles around the edge and you have boiling water, but you don't have a whole lot of steam. You wait till it gets to that rolling boil. That takes more time to get to that rolling boil. But when it does explode, it's a lot more dynamic, a lot more satisfying. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there that have problems with different body parts, like, oh, don't touch this, and oh my God, don't touch that. But for men in particular, the prostate is something that they might want to consider allowing it to be stimulated, whether it's indirect stimulation up on the perineum, which indirectly stimulates the prostate, or lubricating the famous finger and going directly for it and doing that come hither rub. Hey, if you can't handle the idea of that, wear latex gloves, wear some kind of protection on your fingers, use lots of lubricant, and get happy and familiar with that area, because the prostate is not something to be ignored. And in this country in particular, lots and lots of men have all kinds of prostate problems when they get older because they cast aspersions and negativity towards their prostate. And they thought, oh, that's gay. No, it's not. It's the place that produces the fluid that carries the semen forward. So if you want to have the most explosive, dynamic, intense orgasm that will give you a wonderful sense of relaxation, a sense of peace, a sense of joy in your ability to be able to have this kind of pleasure, you need to, number one, love your body, all of it. You don't need to allow any kind of institutions to cast aspersions on any body part. Love all of yourself. Get familiar with all of your parts. Be comfortable with appreciating them, rubbing them, stroking them, and helping them to stay healthy. I mean, if you never use your mind, if you never read, if you never do math problems, actually your brain starts to shrink. Okay. If you, any part of your body that you are not using, it starts to atrophy. And so is true with your genitals. If your prostate, guys, is not rubbed regularly or stimulated regularly, and that does not happen during a quickie, then over the years, it'll feel bad and it'll say, oh, this guy doesn't care about me. And then the next thing you know, you'll end up having prostate problems. It's a really important thing to include the prostate. And again, whether it's direct or indirect, include it in stimulation and take your time when having foreplay, because foreplay is the essence of what great sex is all about. Take your time. There's nothing more important than loving yourself. There's nothing more important than feeling the joy of life pulsing through your body and experiencing the joy that you can create unto yourself. And that happens through whether it's masturbation or mutual masturbation or using a vibrator or whatever means it takes for you to self-satisfy. It's important that you're okay with taking care of your sexual needs and knowing that they are just as important as your need for nourishment, because, without sex, life would end. And we don't want life to end. It seems like certain individuals would like life to end, but we don't want life to end. We want it to go forward, and we want to have wonderful experiences while we're here. And one of the greatest joys is the pleasure that your body can give you if you are willing to take your time and have that experience and have that pleasure. Quickies are okay once in a while. They should not be your diet. They are not the satisfaction that a body needs, and they are actually it's very easy to make that your habit. And again, if your habit is to release quickly by yourself, then that might be what you end up doing with a partner, and that's not good. So if you are going to have sexual relations, and if you want the most dynamic and fulfilling and healing orgasm that your body can possibly have, you need to take your time. And when I say healing, I truly mean that orgasm is healing. It releases wonderful hormones and chemicals within your body that can relieve the body of pain temporarily, but most definitely can relieve the body of pain. I knew someone once that had a terrible pulling in her neck. And when she finally allowed herself to have an orgasm, the orgasm was so intense and so wonderful that for about 5 hours after the orgasm, she had no pain in her neck because of all the wonderful hormones that your body can produce. You guys don't realize it, but your body can do amazing healing if given the love and the trust and the attention that it needs to get those things done. Okay? So I know that people think there's all kinds of important things to do out there. You got to mow the lawn, you got to food shop, you got to take care of the kids, you got to clean the house and laundry and whatever else. Nothing is more important than your health, and your sexual health is among the most important aspects of your life. It is ignored. It is vilified by certain institutions because, it's dangerous. They think that, people will go crazy masturbating. Nobody wants to masturbate if they have a partner. They want to share their love. But if you don't have a partner, or if your partner's appetite isn't the same as yours and you need to take care of yourself, you should, without any kind of negative attitudes attached to it. So orgasm is good for you. Have as many as you can. Make sure you take your time. Include the prostate for guys. Include the G-spot for girls. And enjoy them, because life is meant to be enjoyed. And you are meant for joy. Thank you so much for joining me this week. Next week, I'm going to have a phenomenal conversation with a massage therapist, and she's going to be my guest. So I hope you will join me again next week for another episode of Your Pleasure Incorporated into Daily Living. This is your host, Ellen Nicholas Rathbone, sensuality consultant and life coach, wishing you a phenomenal evening. Namaste. Please do your Kegels, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.